This affects millions and millions of people across the world. It can affect a person of any age and a person of any biologic gender. Now, all of this may sound like major neurologic surgery, but these procedures are done small cuts, what we call percutaneous, meaning we're just going through the skin. We're not dissecting down directly, visualizing the nerve. Say what? A bladder pacemaker to control your leakage? Let's get into it. So, overactive bladder is an extremely common cause of unintended urinary incontinence or bladder leakage. It's described as the sudden, urgent need to pee, severe urgency or need to pee that is difficult to postpone and may result in loss of urine or an accident. This affects millions and millions of people across the world. It can affect a person of any age and a person of any biologic gender. Now, one successful way of treating it that has been around for a while, but is not well known to many of us, is something called sacral neuromodulation. And sacral neuromodulation was developed in the early 80s, like when I was born, and has been FDA approved since 1997. That's almost 30 years ago. So what the heck is sacral neuromodulation? Well, it involves normalizing the way the bladder functions by targeting a nerve in your sacrum. Your sacrum is a large triangular shaped bone that sits at the bottom of your spinal column and includes your tailbone back here. And there are numbered nerves that go through this bone. Doctors and scientists in the early 80s discovered that stimulating the third sacral nerve, or S3, that travels through the third hole in the sacrum significantly helped control overactive bladder, urgency, and leakage. It's this nerve that sacral neuromodulation for overactive bladder targets. Now, all of this may sound like major neurologic surgery, but these procedures are done small cuts, what we call percutaneous, meaning we're just going through the skin. We're not dissecting down directly, visualizing the nerve. We find the nerve using X-ray and bony landmarks. So we don't have to make big cuts. This isn't a major dissection. It's a pretty straightforward outpatient procedure. Now, not everybody who has sacral neuromodulation will be successful, but when it is placed well, most people will notice improvement with sacral modulation, and most people will notice decrease in their leakage episodes. I tell patients to think of it like a bladder pacemaker. In essence, it's a device that is being used to kind of control the normal mechanics of bladder storage, leading to better control of urine and less leakage. Interestingly, sacral neuromodulation has also been shown to improve fecal incontinence or leakage with number 2. And so for those individuals that struggle with both control of urine and stool, it is a great option. It is also FDA approved for certain individuals who cannot pee, but the success rates in that population are less than in treating patients who have urinary or bowel leakage. Now, usually this procedure involves 2 steps because we like to try before we buy. You do a trial procedure that involves either placing temporary parts that end up getting removed or permanent parts that will stay should the device work, but you try it out for a time period, usually around 1 to 2 weeks. And at the end of the trial, take you to the operating room and place the real complete device at that time, should it work. If it doesn't work, everything gets removed. It is very safe and may last for a decade or more before we have to exchange the device for a new one. So there you have it, the pacemaker for your bladder, sacral neuromodulation Let me know if you've ever heard of this before. Give me your thoughts. What are your questions? What do you want to hear more about? And as always, make sure that you never miss a video every hump day by subscribing and hitting that bell and joining me for all things down there right here.